Today marks 10 years since President Barack Obama issued DACA, or Deferred Actions for Childhood Arrivals.
And tonight we are bringing you a special presentation focusing on the program and its efficiency 10 years later.
These were young children who came to the United States with their parents, and we don't hold children responsible for things that their parents do.
10 years after DACA, the program remains in the national spotlight.
I think it's been 10 years. It's definitely a good time to reflect.
Here we are 10 or 11 years after the DACA program started. It's still tied up in lawsuits, and there's still a lot of uncertainty associated with it.
The fate of dreamers now unclear as lawmakers say it's time for change.
We need to find a pathway for them. We should have already done this a long time ago.
Tonight, we are putting local first and examining the status of the program intended to protect children brought across the border.
They're here to work, they're getting education, they're contributing to the economy.
NBC 23 presents A Decade After DACA.
DACA was created on June 15, 2012 under the Obama administration. DHS's secretary at the time, Janet Napolitano, designed the program in response to the growing number of children brought to the U.S.
And according to the National Immigration Forum, the program is aimed at protecting qualifying young undocumented immigrants who came to the U.S. as children.
DACA recipients, or dreamers as they're so often called, are granted a temporary shield through DACA that protects them from deportation and provides them work authorization. With DACA, dreamers have a work permit and are able to lawfully obtain a social security number as well as a driver's license.
And the program was created through executive action rather than through legislation, meaning it is subject to legal challenges.
DACA has been in effect for 3 presidential administrations, each one taking a different stance on the program. We spoke to one legal expert who explains what DACA looked like under each presidency.
It's important to understand that DACA is not even a law, right? It's an executive action.
DACA is the deferred action policy created by the Obama administration 10 years ago.
I think in 10 years is more than enough time for Congress to enshrine DACA. These are professional people, right? These are people that have gone to school, they speak perfect English, they have families, they have responsibilities, right? You would not tell them apart from a U.S. citizen if you saw them.
Because DACA was created through an executive action and not legislation, the policy can be revoked or altered by the current president that's in office. In 2018, the Trump administration tried to do away with DACA.
2016, 2017, you saw that administration try to end essentially the program, right? Try to scale it back.
While the Trump administration was vocal about their intent to end the program, a downscaled version was ultimately announced 1 year after Trump took office. But the intent to end the program was still a goal for the Republican-led administration. Democrats blocked any attempt to end the program, leading the Trump administration to leave DACA in place.
So again, nothing really, I guess, materialized in the form of a long-term relief, just because there was a big debate on whether or not DACA itself was legal and constitutional to begin with. Then in December 4th of 2020, which was less than 2 years ago, right before the administration changed again, you get a liberal court, federal court, I think it was out of New York, I believe, where they say, no, you need to restore DACA back to its original 2012 frame, right?
While the Biden administration says it supports DACA, the president has not taken any action to protect dreamers.
Right now, the state of the program is that it exists, but it's only available to those people that are renewing it and had their DACA, prior to this litigation. It's also important to note that if a person lets their DACA status lapse for more than 1 year, they will also not be able to renew under the new court decision.
And while DACA does protect from deportation, it does not provide lawful status and does not provide a pathway to citizenship. This is because the program was created via executive action and not legislation, meaning it can be revoked. And because of this, dreamers are left in legal limbo as they continue lacking legal status and a pathway to permanent citizenship. The program's origin as an executive branch policy also means it can be legally challenged with court decisions rendering its future uncertain.
At this moment, the future of the program is unclear because of the legality being challenged. This after Texas's federal judge Andrew Hannon ruled DACA unlawful last year. Before the ruling, Hannon heard arguments in December of 2020 where Texas and other states argued DACA violated federal laws. States claimed DACA was promoted without following proper rulemaking procedures and imposed costs on states. The federal government has appealed the ruling, and arguments for this appeal are set to take place July 6th in New Orleans.
It's important to understand that DACA is not even a law, right? It's an executive action. So the weight of that executive action against the constitutional laws of the United States is what's going to be at play during these oral arguments.
During this trial, Dreamers can renew their status, but while new and initial DACA applications can be accepted, they cannot be granted by DHS.
After the July 2021 decision, you're right, there's no new applicants. You can still submit your application. It's going to get to USCIS, it'll go to immigration, but they're not going to adjudicate it. They're not going to give you a decision. They're not going to give you a biometric data. It'll just be placed in the queue somewhere as pending, right? So that's the status of the program now.
And as mentioned, current DACA recipients are allowed to renew their status. It's something they are required to do every 2 years. But with the legality of the program currently in litigation, it adds to the fear and anxiety Dreamers live in knowing the program could come to a sudden end. Now, some lawmakers as well as advocates are pushing for DACA to be made into law. In fact, it's something lawmakers say should be top of mind for Washington when it comes to immigration reform.
I would love to see us do some common sense immigration reform, and starting with the Dreamers, the DACA population. We had previously had a bill that provided them some certainty and a future in the United States, the only country many of them have ever known. And they, of course, arrived here through no fault of their own. So to me, that would be a logical place for us to start.
DACA and the DREAM Act is a very easy, simple bill that can be passed, and we should do it immediately. Let's not tack on all these other bills and ideas and things that make it more complex. Let's find an immediate solution for young people who live in our communities and in our country to have citizenship. Let that be a start.
And as of right now, the Biden administration has not addressed any sort of immigration reform or changes to DACA. As mentioned, the executive policy is currently on hold pending the outcome of a trial taking place next month.